And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tapping in with us. I know some of y'all upset. Listen. Escuchar, listen, come here, y'all. I know you're upset, all right? We wasn't getting Travarius Ward, dog. Y'all know we wouldn't get. You shouldn't have got your hopes up about Travarius Ward there. But Brian told me that the Greenlaw thing was close. Brian, what was going? We just offered him $5 and they just some like matched it, I guess.
That one was appears to be very doable.
Sure.
I really the two San Francisco players were kind of names that I heard they were interested in.
Yeah.
And so, the $20 million a year for Ward
yeah.
by the Colts. Okay, that was out of what Dallas was going to do.
Sure.
They've got their own issues with Bland that they're going to try and do.
Yeah.
Greenlaw, that was one that we've talked about it a bunch on this show.
Yeah.
That you felt like that maybe veteran linebacker was going to be something that you wanted to explore because of the top of the board in the draft, maybe having just a couple of names up there, depending on, how you have your guys, with Campbell and the Georgia kid, how you have them graded.
Yeah.
I talked to a team today that they've got two linebackers in the top 75. So that, you saw what happened. We were trying to kind of warn you that maybe
you might want to sign one of these backers. Yeah.
You might want to sign one of these linebackers, but these linebackers never got to free agency. And I think you saw teams look at their boards, look at the draft, what they've set so far, and they're not names up there. I could say you, depending on what you think about with Walker from Georgia, Campbell, from Alabama. I had a team tell me about the Swessinger from UCLA.
Sure.
Really like him a lot. Maybe a guy that would be, in that conversation. Me personally, I'm in the third round. I think you're in the same kind of boat as I am there. Really like the player, but yeah, I'm not doing this as a pat on the back thing. I'm just telling you, teams saw what we're seeing right now. And I think people who are working on this draft have seen the same thing, that these linebackers were going to go pretty. Now, the teams I talked to, they seem to have an idea like you and I have about where they're got that group too. They're like, well, hey, we've got this group of linebackers that are kind of, and they talk about, all run, hit, don't cover.
Sure.
We're the same thing.
Yeah.
We're like, I started naming all my linebackers off, and they're like, yeah. And I go, well, what you're telling me is all these guys are in the same group. And they're like, yeah, that's how we're looking at our board the same way. So, when you look at Simon from Ohio State and our guy from Penn State, they're all
King.
King, Stutzman, they're all kind of in that same group. And teams are seeing it the same way as we are. I don't know if that's good or not, but here we are. And so that's but the chance for them to potentially go and get Greenlaw, it's it didn't materialize this time. So we'll on to the next thing. They did sign a runner.
Sure.
They did sign a runner there with Williams, right?
Javonta Williams. Brian, could you go to your notes in the 2021 draft? Are you allowed to do that? Do you have enough Wi-Fi and bandwidth to do that? In the 2021 draft, Javonta Williams was in there from North Carolina. Tell me what round you had him in. He went in the second, 35 overall. But what round did you have Javonta Williams in? Because I was a big fan of him coming out of North Carolina. He was in there with Michael Carter. There was a little tandem there. And what I liked about Williams, just a quick little rundown of him, is his physical run style and his ability to catch the football.
Yeah.
So he had
and the way he punished
Very
runners.
physical.
I mean, this guy, punish tacklers.
Yeah.
This kid was he's 5'10", he was 220 pounds. And he would lower the boom on you. I mean, he really, that was something that he, as a powerful runner, and you kind of watch him today, similar to that. Let me go back and look at my stack if I could. I apologize. It's going to take me to find it a little bit, but that's the 2021 draft. Okay, let's see if I got it right here. That's not it. That's another thing I did.
Why are you looking for it, Bryan? I just wonder.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I just wonder what this means, like what style of running back we possibly might be looking for now, because Williams is so big, he's so punishing, but he's like a balanced running back because he catches the ball also. And I know he had a knee injury or whatnot, but even watching him with the Broncos there, I felt like when they gave him the ball, good things happened. They just didn't always give him the football, and they had a lot of running backs in their system over there, Bryan. So maybe there's some upside, for him to be had here though, Bryan. Did you find him?
Yeah, I did. And I'm having to go through my stack of guys and see where I had him. I had him actually, he was player 54 for me.
Okay.
Is where he was. So that's a second round grade, player 54 on my board. So yeah, the running style is it's still, it carries on today. I had Travis. If I look at other backs ahead of him in that draft, Najee Harris, I had ahead of him, or I had also Travis Etienne ahead of him in this draft. And let's see if I had anybody else up on the top of that board.
Because I didn't have a board at this time. I wasn't board putting together.
This was the draft where Trevor Lawrence was the number one player on my board. But I had ATN and those guys ahead of him. But player 54 on my board.
Yeah.
So that's where he was at for that. I will say this about this player. There isn't, this guy's a straight line runner now. I watched 3 games of him today, and the games, like I said, he plays as kind of that sidecar spot where they hand him the ball inside. Nix was, either handing it to him or he was getting the ball, but he's really a straight line runner. And when you look at, there's that power, there's not really that much of a burst, but it's just hit the hole and kind of get what you can. He didn't have a lot of clean plays. He tried to bounce a couple of plays. It didn't work out great for him. Where he's really good, though, is catching the football. You could see plays where Nix was throwing the ball on screen. Sean was calling screen plays for him. They threw him the ball out wide. He was lined up as a wide receiver with an empty backfield, threw him the ball out wide. He's an exceptional pass blocker, blitz pickup guy.
Yeah.
He is square and aware is what I like to say about this kid, because they were trying to run games on him and he was able to kind of step up, pick up guys, sort out guys. Guy coming off the edge, he takes that guy. So his value to the Dallas Cowboys right now is as a pass catcher and as a pass blocker. I don't think this keeps them from drafting a guy at 12, a guy at 44, a guy in the 3rd round. This is just if there's a couple of backs you like, just go ahead and do it.
Sure.
Don't let this deter you. I know people are like, is this signing going to keep you from? I'm like, no.
Just a 1-year deal. Just a 1-year deal,
no,
$3 million. That ain't.
Yeah, this guy's got capabilities. He's, like I said, straight line runner, got some power, and he also catches the ball well. And he's a really good pass blocker. Those are the elements that he brings to your football team right now, from what I saw from this past year of studying games for the Denver Broncos.
I would just hope that they continue to take running back seriously, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah, I do too.
Because running back is an emergency still, just in my own personal opinion. But we're just adding different units and different guys to the conversation there. Corner's probably like a much bigger conversation today than it was yesterday. So, you know, people kind of overreacted a little bit. They say, all right, Jahdae Barron's definitely the pick at number 1 overall there. And I don't think so. I think, you know, they'll still go the best player in the first round, and then they'll kind of go from there. Please.
There's some things. There's some news. Will Johnson is not going to work out.
Sure.
At Michigan. And he pulled a hamstring. Michigan has their pro day at the end of the month, and he's out until, I believe he said April 14th.
Yeah.
Was when he's going to come back. There's a chance that Will Johnson might not have run a 40 for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get to April 14th, and you know, depending on, you know, teams are now in draft mode.
Yeah.
Teams are building boards. Teams are having 30 visits. Teams are doing things, getting ready for the actual draft to be, 10 days away or so. And so, this hamstring injury, the turf toe, the what do you really run?
Bad timing.
Kind of thing.
Bad timing.
It's bad. It's just really bad timing for him. And if I was sitting in a room and I was trying to fight for Will Johnson, and somebody says, "Well, Bryan, what does he run?"
I don't know.
I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, because on tape he doesn't look overly fast. He's a tall guy. But see, okay, now this brings me to the Barron conversation.
Sure.
Maybe the media scouts like Barron more than the Cowboys.
Smaller guy, length and stuff like that. They probably
why they like Will Johnson is why they don't like Barron. Yeah, and they just moved on from a guy, and moved on that Jacksonville determined that that
he was worth
Jordan
his
Lewis.
money.
Give Jordan Lewis a lot of credit for one thing. He survived every attack that came through that building, whether it was Chris Richard, whether it was Rod Marinelli, whoever was against Jordan Lewis, he outlasted every single one of them. And, and he got compensated very well by Jacksonville for how well he played. And, he's a 30-year-old guy. We're going to miss this guy.
Yep.
We are going to miss. Now, you and I, our job is to find guys that can play on the outside and play inside. Parrish from Kansas State. There's guys that can, depending on where you fall on the board, there are inside and outside guys that could do that.
Yeah.
We'll see if they could get to him. But Will Johnson not running so far and having a hamstring injury before a pro day, this thing could carry all the way into April, and people like, I don't know. And he might say the hamstring's never well enough to run.
Yeah.
He could just say, I can't go. I can't do this, and carries it right into the draft. And you'll never get a time on him. Never get a time on him that way. So, but okay, got some good news about Josh Simmons.
Please.
Talk to a couple of trainers around the league. That's a great thing about being with a lot of teams. You can call different trainers you've met throughout your life. And what I got, and I'll read this where I got this from.
Pull that phone. Pull that phone out.
Yeah, I'm pulling my phone out. But this was the notes I got from this one particular trainer.
Yeah.
He says my report on Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State, patella tendon. My report on Simmons reads pretty good. He's about 5 months into post-op from a patella tendon reconstruction. Probably won't be ready too much for the OTAs, but should be ready for training camp. No other issues.
Man.
So
that's humongous.
That was a couple, and that was just from one. That was from one doctor trainer that I got that information was. So we'll keep that as a good positive thing. If you're liking Simmons, the tackle from Ohio State, and you want to keep him up there, there doesn't appear to be anything that keeping him from. Yes, you might not have him for some OTA stuff, but training camp looks very, very positive for him.
Now, Bryan, I know this is a show for all 32 teams, Bryan. But I can't help but to feel that Dallas got to be looking at him, right, Bryan Broaddus? I mean, it's not like
you have to, yeah.
It's not like they would take him off the board.
Nope.
And you know, I just want to be clear here. You know, if you take Tyler Guyton at 26 overall, it's kind of like a second round guy. I think the talent on Josh Simmons is totally different.
Yeah.
And I think you may run into a scenario in which you may not want to draft where you are. Mm-hmm. Your phone does not ring, and he might be the best dude there. I just need everybody to be prepared and don't be upset when if and when it happens. Don't be upset. You get a damn good football player, a damn good offensive lineman. You don't get your running back or your wide receiver in case, but him getting news that his knee and stuff is good to go and there won't be any setbacks and he's ready to go for training camp, I think that shoots him immediately over Will Johnson and Kelvin Banks for me.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's I have him as my number one offensive tackle on the board, and I think there's teams around the league, in talking to my gang in 7, they feel a lot the same way, and they were all very pleased that they got this information from their training staff and their doctors that everything was going in the right direction for him. So, this is now there's, and I hope I'm not speaking for you here. I'm speaking for me.
Please.
He and McMillan are a couple of guys that could take me off
Genty.
Yeah. Those two guys. Now Carter, I don't, unless something with the foot that all of a sudden that people think that foot for Carter is going to get worse as he plays. Yeah. Well, maybe it drops him, but right now, there are only a couple of guys that would really take me off Genty, that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And so, and McMillan and Simmons are those two guys in my book.
Man, Carter's foot got to fall off for me not to take him, bro.
I know. Well, they're talking about the one thing that the one thing that the x-rays will show is the fractures will show he's pre that. If there's actually lines in it. That was another note. I talked to another trainer about that. Did we talk about that at all?
Nah.
Did we talk
about we did. I think we did.
Okay.
We talked about it.
I didn't want to, I wanted to say how it actually was given to me. If you don't mind me circling back,
please.
Maybe we got some guys that are okay. What he has is called a reaction fracture is what he has. That's only the beginning. Okay. The stress fracture is the showing of the true lines in the breakdown on the scan. So reaction is only the beginning. Stress is showing the true lines. So that's the difference that the scouts, the trainers and doctors are dealing with when you're talking about Carter's foot.
Scientific Bryan, man.
I don't know about that. It's not like Najee Harris just signed with the Chargers. My phone just beeped.
Najee Harris is a Charger. I mean, they were eyeing him, but
yeah,
right, cool. Bryan, maybe on Tuesday's edition of the Doing All Right, we can have a good time and talk about how bad San Francisco got today, letting all their guys go. But we'll talk about that another day.
Another day. All right, you ready to power rank these for you?
Bryan Broaddus, I got a third round pick out this group, man. I got a third round out this group, Bryan Broaddus.
I'm gonna guess.
I got a 3, a 4, and 2 5s.
Okay, I'm gonna guess. Here we go. You gave Teddy Buchanan, the linebacker from Cal, a third round grade.
Hell no.
Is he a 5?
He a 5. He cool though, but he a 5. Yeah.
Wow. So you gave the Virginia Tech running back Tutton a third round grade.
I gave him a 4.
The guard from Cincinnati?
He got a 5, Bryan. You don't like Krosky Merritt, huh?
Krusky Merritt is about Krusky Merritt. Did you have to go back and watch that New Mexico film?
I had to. I mean, I had
You had no choice.
I had one game from this year, New Mexico, and then I had to watch him play at New Mexico last year.
New Mexico, yeah. Oh yeah.
Texas A&M. I watched him versus Boise, and the one game this year. Brian, he might be a 4 for me. I'm probably getting excited about. I like him a lot. He's probably a 4 for me. But Brian, if I had to rank him, man. So let's call it 2 4s because I'm being a coward right now. My 2 running backs are in the 4s.
Okay.
My linebacker and my guard are my 2 5ths, Bryan Broaddus. And look, I had heard some good things about Kendra, the guard from Cincinnati. Heard some good things about him, man. But my O-line eye, I just see a lot of a lot of little stuff with my O-line eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bayshore Tootin Broaddus. Let's go ahead and get to him.
Okay, I'm going to tell you where I have him. I do have him in the 4th.
Okay.
I have him in the 4th. Man, they're starting to stack in there, and I'm hating every minute of this.
Because you got to bump some people down, huh?
James from Oregon, Neal from Kansas, Giddings from Kansas State.
I had to drop Blue a little bit. I think I had to drop Blue a little bit.
You know what? You
Blue,
know what's interesting?
Smith, and Giddings. Preliminarily, if I leave Krusky Merritt in the 3rd like I want to, Blue, Smith, and Giddings get pushed a little bit.
I had him in the 5th.
Damn.
And I had Hunter. I had Hunter from Auburn and our Rutgers kid above him is what I had.
Okay.
And I will let you talk about the 4th round running back that you had.
Krusky Merritt or Tootin? Which one you want to hear first?
Krusky Merritt.
Well,
Because he's the guy I have in the 5th.
Well,
and I wonder if I got him really wrong.
Well, Brian, as I'm watching Krusky Merritt, right? And mind you, I'm watching him after I watch Tootin, so I have to naturally, compare the two, right? Brian, I see some foot quickness here. I see some vision. I see some big playability, Brian. I see some burst at the back end of the run. I see a good bit of contact balance, not like a Ashton Genty type contact balance, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I give him about a 7 in the contact balance, and that's cool. Had to look his weight up a little bit just to kind of see what he was. And anybody that
he didn't go to the combine. He didn't go to the combine.
He didn't go to the combine at all. But I looked him up on the ESPN.
Absolutely, yeah.
And anybody that runs fast and 200 pounds, I got a little bit of a sweet spot for him, Bryan Broaddus. I felt like he had comparative to Tootin. I don't want to compare the two, but I felt like he was not.
Wait, you said I'm not gonna compare him to Tootin, but compare him to Tootin.
I feel like I have to. Merritt, I really like him working laterally. You know what I'm saying? And we'll talk about Tootin in a minute. But what I was most impressed about with Merritt, I thought he was a natural ball catcher. Right? I thought good hands out the backfield, Bryan Broaddus. And we stay complaining about blockers, Bryan Broaddus. I don't know how you put this man in the 5th round, and we stay complaining about blockers. I feel like this kid, Krusky Merritt, is one of the better blockers of some of the late guys we've been watching. Not calling him a great blocker, but I think he's better of some of the guys that we've been watching recently. Bryan Broaddus, that's a damn 3-down back to me, man. A runner, a catcher, and a blocker. Why wouldn't you have him in the 4th round at least, Bryan Broaddus? How you got him in the 5? What's your report on Krusky Merritt?
Yeah, man, this guy's he's in the old Johnny Cash song, "I've Been Everywhere, Man." You know that. Look it up. I mean, I've been everywhere, man. But he names off about 27 cities. You know.
Yeah.
My man's been
27 cities, which is not everywhere, by the way. But there's only 27.
He's been everywhere. He's been to Alabama A&M. He's been to New Mexico. And he went to Arizona. Sure. But no, I'm not going to hold that against.
Did he get hurt? Did he get hurt, Bryan Broaddus? Why?
No. I think he played mainly in the pistol formation. I thought he had patience as a runner. I thought he had some running lanes in these games. I thought that New Mexico did a really good job. He is a downhill runner. He's not going to give you – I didn't think he's an elusive guy at all. And I didn't think he'd make people miss. I think he's going to run through tacklers. I think he's going to blow up defenders. I think he kind of tends to build up speed as he goes. And it'll hit the hole with some authority when it opens up. I think he could get to the second level. I see a really upright runner though, and he'll take some shots as he's delivering him. But he will grind out some yards as a ball carrier. You're right about the receiver aspect of that. The check downs, the wheel routes, those were all in the order of the day. He'll step up and pass block. He's not afraid to take on edges and linebackers. I thought he was aware of who to pick up where he needs to help. His physical style is impressive, but his lack of creativity with the ball in his hands might limit him. That's why I had him in the round that I did.
What games did you watch, man?
I'll tell you what games I watched. Told you, Boise State, Utah State, Texas A&M.
Watch him this year, Brian. I'm gonna send it to you if you ain't got it. Watch him. Yeah, he was beating the hell out of the Texas A&M. He was out the Texas A&M kids. Now, come on, man. Come on now, Brian. He was whooping their ass. But you should watch his Arizona. His one Arizona game.
The New Mexico game.
You should look at his one Arizona game, Brian. I think that'll help add to the picture there a little bit.
I did see because I was kind of peeling around on, and they had a highlight of him running like. I guess he had against New Mexico in Arizona. Mm-hmm. He had a long touchdown run, right?
He did.
Where he ran through the middle with, I think, blew wide open.
Yeah.
Maybe Jonah from Zona got a block.
He did. He didn't. That was an accident. Jonah ain't blocked nobody, bro.
Yeah. I just gotta, I have him in the fifth.
Yeah,
I have him in the fifth. But okay. You don't like what I'm doing, but I'm gonna.
Sorry. Did you have him ranked higher than Tootin?
No, I had Tootin above him. Is what I had.
Tootin ranked a little higher. Okay.
Yeah.
I like.
You had it flipped.
I got Krosky Merritt over Tootin, but I like Tootin also. I got Tootin in the fourth. I have him.
How many fourth rounders do you have now?
I got a lot of Brian. I got a lot.
12
I'll tell you right now because my board counts it for me if I highlight them. I got 8 fourth round picks. Krosky Merritt, James, Taj Brooks. I got Martin in there, Hunter, Neal, and Tootin.
Okay.
Scatterbo. Also.
Tootin is interesting because I think this kid does play to his speed.
Sure.
I think there's some breakaway speed. Like, I was kind of curious because I'm like, man, he's got a lot of long runs. So I looked it up on Pro Football Focus. Sure. 54% of his runs were breakaway runs.
Yeah.
So he was one of the best in the country when it came to those 15-yard plus runs. This kid transferred from North Carolina A&T. I think he's kind of a wide zone runner. Sure. He plays with speed to the edge and to get around the corner. Mm-hmm. The contact balance I thought was good. I thought the ability to break tackles. He kind of plays that sideways as a ball carrier where he's sidecar, inside handoff, and then away he goes. Yeah. I like the visions. I like the patience.
Very patient.
I like the ability to press the edge to make decisions where he needed to go. I thought he had some sharp cutbacks when necessary. The running style allows him to break some tackles. I mean, he is built low to the ground, physical running style. Half of his games this season, he had 75 yards after contact.
Yeah.
So half the games he played. So you could see him running through tacklers, the willing pass blocker, the step up. He's got some pop. He can make a defender have to restart his rush with the way he plays. He can be a little too aggressive and he'll lose some sustain sometimes. Mm-hmm. He has some pass catching ability, but they didn't use him as a receiver as much as But the very limited route tree. But he didn't have a drop this season from what the metrics told me. Yeah. If there's a weakness to his game, he has fumbled.
He's fumbled.
He's 8 fumbles in his last 2 seasons. Yeah. And the majority of those from talking to people came after like second contact.
Yeah.
So I have him in the 4th, and then I have the New Mexico Arizona kid in the 5th round.
2 things that I was happy to see from Bayshore Tootin. Normally when you see guys that run fast, like the big juice guys, right?
Yeah.
Is they're like going 100 miles an hour all the time. And he doesn't. I think he runs with some real good patience, and then he goes once he sees it.
Yes, sir.
Also, too, I was shocked to see how heavy he ran. Like he ran with some good heaviness to him, with some good gravity to him. You know what I mean? Like he was looking to finish runs, and then if he had it wide open, he'll just kind of leave you and you wouldn't see him right there. So that's what I liked a lot about him. Brian, I'm gonna have to move some of these running backs around, man. Brian, how do you compare Bayshore?
Wait. You want to really you want to ask my opinion after I put your guy in the 5th round? You sure you want to ask me where I might have backs ranks?
Yeah.
Because I kind of detected that you weren't too happy with me putting.
I'll never fight you, Bryan Broaddus. What I notice about us, the more we do this, when we get in the later rounds, that ice cream gets nuanced. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We always say flavors of ice cream, right? The early round guys, they're just a flavor. Strawberry. Yeah. A lot of people like strawberry, right? But when we get down to this range, pistachio, you know, we get some nuanced flavors in here.
Oh yeah, you get some nuanced flavors.
And me and you don't like the same things, but I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as you put in the work, you good to go.
I tell you what, there's been times where I've looked at my board after you and I've gone off air.
Yeah.
And I've gone, he ain't wrong. He's not wrong. And I go back and I read a note and I'm like, now I know he's not wrong. But what do you want to ask me about? Where I got some guys?
Yeah, man. You know, I feel like Bayshore Tootin kind of got some similarities to Jaden Blue, the running back from Texas.
Yeah,
I think Blue. You got Blue up in the 3rd, right?
Yeah, I do, and I really, really like Blue.
Yeah,
and
what's separating the two, Brian? Please.
I think the catching of the football.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's just the ability to, you know, and maybe it's not Tootin's fault that they don't run routes with him, and they don't throw him the ball and all that. And maybe he gets in the NFL and I just think with Blue, you do see the wheel routes, you do see the screens, you do see flexed out and put him out there and throw him the ball and toe tapping along the sidelines and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that 3rd round group I got some pass catchers in that group. You know, when you talk about Junkins and Blue and Smith from SMU, Scattaboo, Harvey, those kinds of guys, I think these guys are those are like big time runners with some big time ability to catch the football. And maybe that's where, you know, with Tootin, I have him and Martinez. Yeah. Okay. Physical runners. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Physical runners with the ball. Maybe Krosky Merritt should be more with Martinez in the 4th round behind him, because kind of a similar type of guy. I really do like Brooks a lot from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
You know, pass blocker, catch, run. I really like him. Mm-hmm. I think Neal is going to be a really good player for somebody from Kansas. I think he catches the ball well. I think he runs well. He's just not fast.
I'm going to have to move him down because he's not fast, Bryan Broaddus. Because I can name a lot of dudes that's just fast. I can name some dudes that run faster than Neal. And
you're talking about moving Neal down? You're talking about moving Neal down?
Yeah. Okay. And, Brian, it's not because like a bad thing from Neal. Neal's a really good runner. It's just that we just got some dudes. I don't have any extras at running back right now. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Just guys that I would in the 7th round, like undrafted, anything like that. Like I got, let's see what we got, Brian. I'm counting for you. We got 20 running backs watched right now, Bryan Broaddus. And we like them all to an extent.
Yeah, I've said this on a couple different platforms. I think on 105.3 The Fan, Love of the Star, Trusted Tape with Jeff. We've talked about the running backs. People got mad at me because I said I would double up on the running backs in the draft.
Do it.
Like I don't need to pay a guy. Yeah, you gave $3 million to Williams. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, you gave $3 million to him. Okay, great. But to me, every running back that I've seen, I felt good about.
Sure.
I felt good about it. It hadn't been where he's an other. That's an other.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't felt that way with a lot of these guys.
Bruh, I was let down by this Luke Kandra character, man. Or Pete was telling me, man, Kendra just did way. You know, Matt Owen hit me up about Kendra. I believe Joe Sandberg did. There's this one character in the comments that love you but can't stand me, and he comments on all the episodes or whatever. But you know, shouts out to him. I don't censor nobody, but he mentioned Kendra a couple times, and I was like, all right, boys, let's get in the. Hey, Bryan, man, let me tell you something about. I feel like Kendra does have the ability to be great. Let me say that.
Great.
I take it back. You're right. I'm just being.
Yeah, I don't know about great.
I think Kendra has the ability to be a physical, consistent gap man blocking offensive lineman. Bryan Broaddus.
You were just struggling to pull those words out of that brain of yours.
He has the ability to do those things because I see him wanting to finish people. I see him get some good drives sometimes, you know, in the run game. And I see him latch on to people with a decent amount of grip strength, Bryan Broaddus. Is that what I see when I see Luke Kendra, right? Well, boy, Bryan Broaddus, all of that strength means nothing when you're catching. Or your hands are in the wrong place.
Always.
They get a little wide. Or you stand straight up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or your feet just bad and it don't put you in great position. Bryan, I don't see a great athlete at all.
Yeah.
I don't see. Look, if we about to do some pinning and pulling and wide zoning, y'all thought y'all didn't want Tyler Booker doing some wide zoning. Y'all don't want Luke Kendra doing no damn wide zoning, Bryan Broaddus. But I thought I feel like he has the ability maybe to be like a TJ Bass type character for you, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
He could be.
Come in for you and just like develop or whatnot.
When you said the word great, I almost threw up in my mouth.
Well, Bryan, I'm trying to be nice.
No offense to the young man.
I'm trying to get the interview, Bryan Broaddus, but I feel like a lot of Luke Kendra's deficiencies come from his technique and his lack of athleticism.
He needs to play in a zone heavy scheme. I don't see anything that leads me to believe some second level stuff and all that. He's a starting right guard there for the Bearcats. He is a transfer from Louisville. He came over when the head coach came from Louisville to Cincinnati. He does, as you mentioned, he's got an interesting blocking style. His hands are positioned, but he's kind of like push, shove, and then they go wide. I mean, you see him miss and they end up on the back of the defender. He tends to lean over the tops of his feet on most blocks. Like his weight is far out in front, too far out in front, much for my liking. It's remarkable that he's not on the ground that much, but he'll lunge and he gets away with it. There's really not much of that fluidity with him. He can't sustain when he gets hooked up because he's got, as you mentioned, he's got the grip strength. The staff asks him to play in space. And so you'll see him pull, you'll see him get to outside.
That ain't him.
His lateral range is not that great. But it's one of those things where he knows where he's supposed to be. He just can't get there. And I think as a pass blocker, he'll pass off some stunts. He wears a huge brace on his left elbow and might have some elbow issues. So probably need to check that. But his size is impressive. But, man, he has to correct playing over the tops of his feet or he might have some early struggles in the NFL. He's played a ton of games in his career. But I said this, he needs to play in a zone-heavy scheme where he could just come off the ball, get his guy, and go about his business. And I put him in the 5th round. I've got him over Rivers, who I projected from Miami to be a guard, from a tackle to a guard. So I have him in that 5th round with over Rivers from Miami.
I don't see how you could put him over Rivers though. And look, I'm not a big fan of Rivers neither. But I was just debating moving.
I think
those
it's the
guys
projection.
around.
I think it's the projection.
Yeah.
Because I projected Rivers plays left tackle at Miami.
Sure. I got him as a guard
So-
as well. I got
Yeah.
I got Rivers, Kandra, and I'm fighting between both of those guys. And then I got Jared Wilson as a center in that group, also the center from Georgia. You know I got him down up under there. So Kandra and Rivers is kind of the fight I'm having right now. I think Kandra could be a little better if you just worked on his hand placement maybe. And
the lunging scares the F out of me right now.
Yeah.
And when you get over the tops and he's a big guy. He's like 319 pounds. I don't see him on the ground. I don't know how he gets away with it.
Yeah.
But he plays really top heavy for the position. And like I say, let him come off the ball, zone guides, take a step, and then go forward.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think he needs to play.
Bryan, we got another downhill linebacker though, man.
You don't like my guy Teddy Buchanan, do you?
I like Buchanan. I just think he's another downhill linebacker like the rest of them, Bryan Broaddus. You know,
I talked to a team.
What they say?
I talked to a team today because I was curious. I'm like, because I mentioned with you in our pre-show meeting, I mentioned a little bit about talking to these scouts, and they're all like, I'm saying, all those guys that are all in that one round, like that fourth round group, where you got King and Paul and Knight and Stutzman and Simon, they're all kind of in that group, and they're all kind of like throwback linebackers. And my guys from these teams were like, oh yeah, I know, man, you got it right. They're all those guys are in that kind of that group there. But
yeah, I bet
I got Buchanan in the fourth, and I put Buchanan as an outside linebacker. I put him outside. I didn't put him inside.
Okay.
So if you let me do the honors of reading this kid, Teddy Buchanan from Cal. So he's a transfer from Cal Davis is where he got his career start. He's 6'2", he's 233 pounds. So you kind of see some size for the position. Games I watched, the Auburn, the Miami game. I still can't believe they lost the Miami game. He's got some pop to his game. When taking on ball carriers, they stop in their tracks. He is a physical player. He'll surprise you as a blitzer. I thought there was some ability to close on the ball carrier. There were a couple snaps where he was able to kind of run down Cam Ward and force like a poor pass.
Yeah.
I think he plays with some closing speed. I think he's got a burst. I don't think he always sees the play cleanly, though. He got caught flat-footed a couple of times. I think he's got some twitchiness to his game in the short area. I think he does play light on his feet. There's some lateral agility to his game. He can cover some ground. He gets stuck on blocks, though, at times. I mean, Miami, Auburn, when they got guys up on him, he just was trying to fight it, and he couldn't. So it happens when he doesn't read the right way. He tends to get stuck. He's got some ranginess to his game. He could track the ball down. What's interesting, Voch, about this kid is I just looked up the combine numbers on this kid. Mm-hmm. He had a 40-inch vertical jump. And so that always kind of tells you maybe there's a little bit of some explosiveness to his game. I think you see that more when he tackles than anything. So I've got him as an outside linebacker, and I've got him in that fourth round for on my board.
I watched him versus Auburn, and I believe Syracuse is the games I saw. Very active player, Bryan Broaddus. You know what I'm saying? And I think as long as it's in
Syracuse, he had a really good game. I think I went back and read something about him.
Sure.
Didn't he have like a lot of tackles in that game?
Plenty of them. Sure. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Very active player. What did you think of him as a cover guy, Bryan Broaddus?
That was a little bit of an issue. That's why I said the blitz stuff. I was kind of happy about. There were times where the ball was kind of behind him, and I didn't think he was as aware as he needed to be on that. That's something I should have put in my notes. I'm glad you asked me about that because I did not see a guy that I wanted to put like he was aware when he was thinking they were playing somebody like Miami was running crossers, and you could see him turn and look inside to see where the crossers were coming from and be that kind of defender. I don't know if I want to put him in a lot of man coverage stuff. He, the combine, I was talking to a team, and they're like, "Listen, he was telling us he was going to run in the 4.4s. He ran 4.6, and it's good enough. Sure. I mean, it's good. It's good for a guy that size to be that way, and you could see him on the tape. But to your point, the coverage stuff, it's kind of like some of the guys that we were kind of those old school linebacker dudes that we were talking about in this draft that we just mentioned.
You know, Bryan, just me looking over it, I was kind of, cheating a little bit. I didn't want to, cheat and make him a 4 or 5 guy.
Yeah.
But just looking at him, my 5s are Bossa and Carter.
Yeah,
and
he's better than those dudes.
And my 4s are Simon, Paul, and King. And he's just like Simon, Paul, and King. They're all the same guy.
That's why I put him. Simon, Paul, King.
Yeah.
All inside linebackers. Teddy Buchanan, I have as an outside linebacker.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna put him in the 4 with his twin brothers. You know what I'm saying? Just put him up in there.
Got a lot of twin brothers in that. That's and I was just wondering what teams were thinking about all these linebackers. Yeah. All these, I think that we mentioned the top of the board. Mm-hmm. Like I say, a team told me 2 linebackers in the top 75. 2. And everything else is after that.
Yeah.
So 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Yeah, they're linebackers, but know what kind of linebackers you're getting there. Mm-hmm. You're not getting cover guys. You're getting physical, downhill linebackers that could have played in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Big show, Bryan. Big show.
Yeah.
Man, just looking at the homework assignment we have, man, we got a couple more edges in this group we got to look at, Bryan. And we are officially at 27 edges. By the end of the week, we'll be at 29. I think these are the last of the edges that we have to watch. But, these are guys that come highly recommended, Bryan Broaddus. I've been seeing David Walker from Central Arkansas all over.
Have you looked at him yet?
I have not, but I'm going to watch him tomorrow to get ready for Wednesday.
Okay, he's 6'1". Mm-hmm. He's 263 pounds. Okay. I heard a pro comparison to him today that I'll share with you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do that then. But our Wednesday work, okay? Everybody write this down.
Oh, Wednesday. I'm sorry, not Tuesday.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
David Walker, the edge from Central Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
We got Johnny Cornelius,
watch him, yeah.
The offensive tackle from Oregon. I see a little smile over there. And Kobe Hudson, the wide receiver from UCF. So we're getting back on track with players we like, Bryan Broaddus. You know what I'm saying? Woolchuck wasn't wrong. Buchanan is cool. But everybody else's recommendation, I can't listen to you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are 0 for 1. At least Woolchuck got one right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, about time. You're not on the show tomorrow, huh?
I'm not on the show, man. But y'all watch anyway, please. Y'all
watch anyway. Please watch. We appreciate your eyeballs. Even if Voch is not on the show, we sure appreciate your eyeballs if you can give them to us.
Who's on deck? Who's on deck? Is it a Bobby Zach show or is it a Nick Tommy show?
I think I haven't looked, but I think it's me, Woolchuck, Kyle. And I think it might be Tommy. I think is who we might. If Bobby's supposed to be on the show, I'm
gonna just start taking Bobby days. I'm gonna just start taking.
I'm about to say, I told Aisha or you, either one, come on in, man. We could sure use the company, but Bobby's got a lot going on. We all know that.
Yep, 100%. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. What is Bryan Broaddus is gonna go for a walk? I know it's 9, but like daylight saving times will probably put you. You know what I'm saying? Like at 8 or something. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I feel good. I feel good right now. I mean, the weather is nice outside. So everybody get a walk. Think about your health.
Be safe, Bryan Broaddus. Carry something with you to keep you safe out there at night. All right. Y'all be sure to tap in with me on Twitter, VOCHLOMBARDI. And y'all take a look at BRYN Broaddus. He'll be tweeting out some fantastic work for y'all and some little insight that he's been getting throughout the week. And he'll answer questions too. If y'all just ask, he'll just answer a series of your questions. Long episode tonight, man. Appreciate y'all for sitting in there with us, man. Y'all hold it down until tomorrow. Crown.